How's it going, guys? This is Bailey with Rogers Performance Marine. Today I'm going to walk you through this 2020 Lund 1775 Adventure. So we've got this all rigged up to go home. It's a sold boat, so I'm going to be showing you some of the features and options that it's got. Then I'm also going to walk you through how to use some of the features and options that we added onto it. So moving our way back, we're going to start at the back of the boat, go over a few trailer options, transom options, and then we'll climb up inside. So the boat didn't come equipped from the factory with the Lund load guide, so we added some on. They're very similar to what you would get from Lund with the exception of color. Lund's would be black to match the trailer, but it does have the roller load guides on. We went ahead and added our RPM transom straps. When you're hauling down the road, you definitely want to make sure you've got one on the port side, one on the transom side. It's going to keep the boat from bouncing on the trailer, and then in the event of an accident, it would keep, if you were to get rear-ended, it would keep the boat from going into the back of the truck. Moving a little bit further back, it does have the boarding ladder, which is telescoping, so to put it away, you slide it forward. You got a rubber bungee here to strap it in, and then they did a nice job on the back here to put a cover over it. That way when the ladder's stowed away, you can still use this as a large fishing and casting platform. Couple more things on the back of the boat I want to show you guys. Here below the motor, you're going to notice there's 3 ports on the back. The one on the left, this is going to be the drain for your live well, so you don't want to plug that unless you don't have intentions of using your live well. Center plug is just going to be your traditional boat plug. In Utah, it's against the law to travel with the boat plug in, so Lund's got it hanging on this wire. To put it in, it's very simple. Press it in and then twist it until the plug swells and expands to where it can't come back out. And then this next port, this is the live well intake. So the water is going to go through the screen and into the live well when you turn the live well pump on. If for some reason you run across the pump being on and it's not pumping water inside, you can see, you know, from time to time we'll see debris in there. So you can pull this strainer off really easily and clean it out. I've also seen it get an air void from time to time. If that's the case, leave the pump on, throw the boat in reverse, and that should purge out any other air. We'll go over a few more live well features when we climb up inside the boat. Really quick, we're going to go over the motor here. One common thing that I see people do wrong, or a question we get often, is regarding this washout port right here. So you do not want to run the engine off of this. This is simply just to wash it out. If it's been in salt water, or if it's been in, you know, murky water with a lot of debris and contaminants, you can hook your hose up to that and flush the engine out. Again, you do not want to run off that, simply for cleaning purposes. If you're running the boat out of the lake, you always want to put a flush on to cover up these holes right here. That's going to allow it to pump in water, just like you would be if you're out at the lake. Quick overview on the 115. This is the standard 115 4-stroke. Service on this, you're going to want to have the first service done at 20 hours. After that, you're going to want to have it serviced once a year or every 100 hours, whatever comes first. The lower unit, you'll want to have it serviced once a year, every 100 hours as well. And then the impeller inside there, you want to have done every other year. The only other recommended maintenance that I can tell you guys about is to do the spark plugs every 300 hours under the cowling. To access under the cowling, you'll take and pull up on this latch here, pull towards you, then you can take and lift up to gain access to the engine. A couple quick things I want to show you. This is going to be your dipstick to check your oil level. Oil filter is located here, and then your fuel filter is nice and easily accessible there. I do recommend keeping a spare fuel filter on the boat at all times. It's easy to replace, and if you fill up at a marina that's got bad gas or contaminants in the gas, you can easily replace that. And then on the back side of the cowling, you can't see here right now, but it does give an engine breakdown as to how many quarts of oil you want and then what sort of oil you use. To add oil, you're going to add it right in here. Very, very simple motor to operate, very reliable, low cost maintenance. It's the 115's been good for us. They do offer the Adventure in the 115 4-stroke, which is what you're looking at. You can also get it with the 115 Pro XS, which we order on some of our boats as well. Now to go over a few things on the trailer. I mentioned earlier in the video, you want to make sure the transom straps are on. Of course, when you get to the lake, you put your boat plug in. These should be the next things to come off. When backing the boat in the trailer, rule of thumb, each launch ramp is going to be a little bit different, but rule of thumb is you want to have the front of the fender about 3 inches below water. That's going to allow you to fire up the engine, unhook the bow strap, and then back it off without ripping the carpet. You don't want to be too shallow in, because that's going to wear out the carpet and the bunks a lot faster. All of our trailers at Rogers Performance Marine are equipped with bunks under it, not rollers, so you definitely want to make sure you're deep enough in to get some water in between the carpet on the bunks and the boat itself. Moving further forward to the front of the trailer, You do have your standard winch strap here. To release that, you just go and press forward to release pressure, and then you've got a switch right here. Now it's released and we can unhook it from the boat. When you're done boating and you're putting it back on the trailer, you'll flip this latch, crank it to tighten it up. You've also got an emergency chain here. You always want to make sure that's on just in case this were to break going down the road. Standard 2-inch coupler. Okay, does not have brakes, so you've just got your flat 4 wire connector here, safety chains, and then an awesome thing that Lund does is they do put the swivel tongue on there, so you'll take and pull this pin out. And then that swivels away to give you some extra garage space. The one thing I can say with that is always check to make sure that this is in properly before you leave. And then 2, periodically through the ownership of the boat, you do want to check the hardware on here. I've never personally encountered one breaking, but you do just want to at least give a visual inspection to make sure that these are always in good shape as well. Now we're going to climb up inside the boat and go through the rest. All right, so now up in the bow, I'm going to walk you through the way we've got this set up. Just so you know, we've got a 24-volt Minn Kota power drive V2 with iPilot. And then we've also got a Helix 5 Humminbird fish finder set up to run off the US2 sonar on the trolling motor itself. So to give you a quick overview on the trolling motor, first thing I want to touch on, I find really important, this is your adjustment shank here. So by moving this up and down the shaft is going to decide how deep you want the trolling motor to be in the water. Typically, I'm going to tell most of our customers when you're fishing and trolling to keep it all the way up here. That's going to allow the shaft to go all the way in the water and be as deep as possible so it doesn't come out of the water in rough water. When you're traveling down the road, or if you're driving up the river and you have no intentions of using the trolling motor, you want to have this collar all the way at the bottom. That way it can't accidentally deploy, especially while you're going down the road. You don't want that to pop off and drag down the highway. For the sake of the demonstration, I'm going to leave it right here so it doesn't scratch or hit the boat or the trailer. Okay, so now that we've got the adjustment collar set in, we're going to deploy it. To deploy it's very easy. You're going to take and press down on this.
Line 1, service line 1.
Once you've done that, push forward, and then you'll hear it lock in place. Okay, locked in, and it's not going to pop back up on us. So it's locked in place and ready to use. Once you've got it deployed, you want to take and plug your pigtail in. It's keyed, so you can only plug it in one way. It is also watertight, so it's a little tight going in, but that's how it needs to be. You can also press the test button right up here to test your battery level. So if you press and hold on that, it shows you got full bars, it's ready to use. Okay. Once we've got it turned on and ready to go, grab the handheld remote, press the check button. That's going to activate the iPilot remote. Press the OK button by pressing this in the top right corner. Okay, now the trolling motor is active and ready to use. So you've got right and left. That's going to control your steering. So if I press this, you'll see the trolling motor to steer left and right. Okay, this button right here is going to activate your prop. Okay, so to press that, now you'll notice, if you can see it on the LCD screen here, the prop is not spinning. If I press the plus or minus buttons to pick up power, you'll notice the prop indicator is telling us it's spinning. Power level is going to go in half power increments from 0 to 10. So right now we're at 2, that's 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, so on and so forth. That is not a mile per hour setting, that is strictly just a power setting. Now to turn the prop off, simply press the prop button in the middle. To raise the power, it's the plus button here. To lower the power, it's the minus button there. Okay, you'll notice right here in the top right, that's your GPS speed that you're traveling at right now. Okay, to set and lock in a speed, you've got the cruise control button here in the bottom left. I'm not going to do this right now because we're not on the water, but if you wanted to, let's say, set it to 1.7 to fish for trout, you would take and press that button in the lower left, and then press the plus or the minus to increase or decrease your speed to your set speed, and then that's going to have the trolling motor push the boat at your desired speed. Anchor button in the middle, that's your spot lock button, so it does exactly what it looks like. It anchors the boat. If you press that, it's going to hold the boat within 5 feet of where you press that location. This button right here is going to bring the trolling motor to max power. The north facing button on your far right, that's going to keep you heading in a straight line. So if you've got a nice line that you're trolling for trout on and you want to continue to head straight without having to manage the right and left directional buttons, you can press that. That'll lock it in and continue to steer in the same direction that you're facing when you press the boat. Go to is going to be for any of your waypoints. So if you... All right, so now when you're done using the trolling motor, the only different thing when pulling it up is you use a different release mechanism. That's going to be located right here. So to bring the trolling motor back, you'll press this button or this lever down, and then pull the shaft towards you. We do see a lot of people bring their boats to our shop with the trolling motor facing vertical. That's not how you want it. You want it horizontal, so it's supported inside the housing. pull it towards you and lock it in. Now the only thing I want to show you on the bow of the boat that we added again was this Helix 5 fish finder. The one thing you need to know about it is the master power switch on the dash has to be on for this to be able to activate. Again, this is linked into the Minn Kota Power Drive US2, so when the trolling motor is deployed, it's going to be scanning from the front of the boat and showing you what you're about to go over and what you're over at the current time. This is simply just a Helix 5 sonar. It doesn't have down imaging or side imaging because the transducer in the lower foot of the trolling motor is just for sonar capabilities. Now to show you guys that are looking at the Adventure, a few nice things with the boat. You do have a nice storage pocket up in the front. You can use this for your navigation lights. You can use that for storage of any other accessories, anchors, anything like that. It's a nice deep carpeted pocket, great for storage. Another thing I really love about the Adventure is how deep their bow storage is. I mean, I can stand all the way down here, it goes up to my knees. You see we've got the full storage cover in there and there's plenty of room, and it's also pass-through storage. So what goes in this storage compartment can also be accessed from the storage compartment on the right side. So port and starboard side are both conjoined storage. Looking back into the cockpit, you can see a little bit better from the bow. You can see how large this cockpit is. They've done a really good job with it. We've got our center locking rod storage here, so you can twist and flip up on that. You've got nice, deep, accessible rod storage. If you're needing to locate your batteries for your trolling motor up front, it's going to be right under here. So you'll see both of the batteries are in there. Lund did a good job with making a cover for it so your rods don't get tangled or set up on top of them. And then just snap that in place. We added a 3-bank battery charger for this customer, so that's where you'll access that. That's really nice to have, made by Minn Kota. That's going to keep all the batteries maintained and ready to go. So every time you take it out from your boathouse or your garage, your batteries should be juiced up and ready to go. Few more things I want to cover in the cockpit. Moving over to the dash, this is going to be the most important thing in my eyes. I mentioned earlier in the video the master power switch. You're going to find that located right here. So with the master power switch on, like you've seen earlier in the video, the front fish finder was working, our horn's working. You can hear that. If I go ahead and turn the master power switch off, that's essentially your battery switch. Now nothing's going to be working. The only thing you're going to have power to with the battery switch off is going to be your 24-volt trolling motor, because that's on a separate battery unit. And then you'd still be able to raise and lower your motor as well as fire up your motor, but none of your stereos, fish finders, any interior lighting accessories is going to work. So we'll go ahead and flip that back on. Now to walk you through the switches, first switch to the right of the master power is going to be your navigation light. So you press that switch forward, that's going to turn on the green and red lights on the bow and the anchor light on the transom. Neutral is off, down is just the anchor light on the transom. Next switch over is going to be your aerator. So you've got an auto switch. If you flip it up, that's going to automatically fill the live well and then keep air circulating in there so the fish have oxygen. Neutral is off and down is manual. Manual is just going to fill and fill and fill until you shut it off. Bilge pump, you'll notice right here it's got a little red light. That tells you it's on an auto float. So if the red light comes on and you haven't flipped the bilge pump on, that's just going to automatically be pumping out water. So you need to find out why, whether it's just bad weather, bad water conditions, it's raining, or you've got a water leak somewhere. To flip the bilge pump on manually, simply just press up. The red light indicates it's on and it's good to go. And then Lund also has a cool option with this boat with the standard interior light. So it's got an LED light up in the bow and in the cockpit. So if you're, you can't see it really well in the video because it's not dark out, but if you're fishing early morning or late night, it's nice. You got an area that's going to light up the deck and in the cockpit. We'll go ahead and turn that off. This console mount fish finder is the Helix 7 MSI, so the mega side imaging. Not going to get too in depth on that today. You're going to want to spend some time on the water learning how to use this, but to turn it on, you'll simply press and hold the power button, let go. That's going to boot it up. Again, you have to make sure your master power switch is on for this to be activated. If your master power switch is off, there's no power to the fish finder. This Helix 7 is going to give you sonar, it's going to give you GPS, it's going to give you down imaging, and it's going to give you side imaging. So a quick run through how those look. To change your view, it's the view button in the top right corner, or you can press exit to go back. Okay, so views forward, exits back. This main map, or this screen right here, is going to be your GPS mapping. We're in a building right now, so it doesn't have very strong GPS strength. It's probably not going to show you exactly where we're at. To press view, that's going to change. That's GPS and GPS. Now we've got sonar and GPS, down imaging, GPS, side imaging and GPS. And then we'll go back to just sonar mode. Sonar with big, it's called a big digit view. That's down imaging, and then side imaging. You can see 100 feet in each direction, left and right. and then now we're back to split. So sonar and down imaging, sonar and side imaging, down imaging, sonar and then zoom sonar, so on and so forth. Again, you'll want to spend some time on the water to really learn these units. Stereo located to the right of the steering wheel. To press the power button right there, that's going to turn it on. You've got Bluetooth, AM, FM radio, as well as you've got a USB and an auxiliary port right here for easy access. Okay. You do also have a 12-volt charger right up here as well. We're going to press and hold the stereo button to turn it off, and then I'm going to hit the master power switch to kill that. This boat also comes equipped with the tilt steering wheel. So by pressing the trigger on the lower side of the steering wheel, you can raise and lower that, as well as a seat slider. So there's a lever right here that's going to allow you to bring the seat forward, bring the seat back, and then turn it 360 degrees. A few other things I want to go over on the back of the boat. First things first, going to be the live well. So this is where the live well water is going to come in first. To allow the water to come in, you have to press the switch on the dash and then take and grab the water spigot here. The further counterclockwise you go, the more water is going to come in. The further clockwise you go is going to restrict or stop the water flow. One thing to show you guys in the video, see how it's keyed there? You do not have to pull this all the way out. There's a little notch on the bottom of the water spigot that's going to allow water to flow through here. So this does not need to be fully removed. To allow the live well to hold water, you're going to put a standard boat plug in right here. The boat does come with one, of course, but you need to put that in to have the water stay in the boat. You've got two flip-up seats in the rear. Under the flip-up seats on this side, I believe you've got the storage, and then the other side is going to be battery. So you have storage in here, and then on the other side you'll have the same flip-up storage, but we've got the battery located there as well. The flip-up seats are nice too, because I'm a shorter guy, but I can sit in one of these, and with my feet fully extended, I'm not going to be touching the back of the driver's seat. You could also, if you want, put an extra chair right in front of me, and they've got the chairs offset, so if there was another Lund seat here, I can still put my feet forward and have plenty of room. We've got rod storage on the port and the starboard side with easy access to both. And really the only other thing I want to show you is the ski tow bar. So this is another option that we had added. So if you're done fishing for the day and you got the grandkids that want to come skiing or tubing, you'll hook them up onto this. To remove this, you just want to twist and pull up. Once it's unlocked, pull that out, and then that can stow away nicely in here. All right, and it's ready to go.